I'm sure many of you guys have seen videos about scams in Rome. And while the scams are real, they're really not that big a deal. I mean, yeah, you might be out $5 or $10 depending on the scam. There's where they give you a bracelet and then you think it's free and then it ends up costing you €5, or they stick a flower in your hand and you think again it's free, you wonder what's going on, and pretty soon you're paying $5 for the flower. And there's some other things too, but most scams in Italy are not that big a deal. It's the pickpockets you really need to worry about. And how big of a problem are pickpockets in Rome? That's what we're going to discuss in this video, and then we're also going to talk about ways to avoid being pickpocketed.
I've got a story that unfortunately is true. When you're in Rome, they're going to try to take your money from you. There must be 50 ways to take your money.
Vill have a pleasure.
One chair on the bus,
Don't need to discuss much.
Watch out on the train plane.
more than 50 ways to lose our money.
Before you worry too much, I want to let you know that Rome is actually a very safe city. There's hardly any muggings, shootings, stabbings, murder. Those things just don't happen, which is a great thing. And as a tourist, you can walk around the city of Rome even late into the night or past midnight without really any fear of anything happening. And that's true of pretty much every city I've been to in Italy. They're all very, very safe. And so when you're out there, that's just not something you have to worry about. So other than some petty theft, Rome is a very, very safe place to be. How big of a problem is pickpockets in Italy? Well, it's really hard to know for sure because the official statistics aren't accurate, and I'll tell you why. Most of the pickpockets never get actually recorded. Some of them get reported to the police, but it's very often that the police don't do anything about it. And so you really can't rely on that. But I'll give you an idea and an estimation that I came up with. Last summer we were pickpocketed, okay, and in the pickpocket they also got our passport, so we had to go to the embassy to get that replaced, and I think it was on a Thursday. So we went down to the embassy. When we got there was around 40 to 50 other people that morning getting their passports replaced that had their were pickpocketed and had that stolen. And that's just in the American embassy. We're not talking about the Chinese, the Canadian, the Australian, and all the others. We're just talking about the American embassy. A lady at the embassy told me that they replace upwards of 100 passports in a busy day at the US embassy. Again, that's just the US embassy. And so then you figure, you know what? Probably 90% of the people that get pickpocketed, they're getting their wallets, but they're not also getting their passports, because many people don't carry their passports with them, or if they have them with them, they don't have them in the same pocket. So I estimate there's at least 10 times more pickpockets taking place than passports that are actually stolen. So that would put you up at 1,000, and again, that's just at the US embassy. So there could actually be several thousand pickpockets that take place in Rome on a busy day. Now that sounds like a lot, it does, and it is. But let's put it in perspective real quick. On the subway, there are close to 800,000 people that ride the subway in a given day. At the Termini station, something like 600, 700,000 people go through there. So anyway, there's well over 1 million people that ride the public transportation system on any given day in Rome. And so when you take that number and you divide that by the amount of people that are actually riding the subway, there's really not that high of a percentage of you being pickpocketed while you are in Rome. But I would say that's assuming you don't stand out. Let's talk about some of the thefts that I heard about when I was in the embassy. Like I said, we were in the embassy with 40, 50 other people. We were there for 3 hours. We had a lot of time to chat and kind of figure out, what happened to everybody. Our story was my wife had a little backpack, a little nice backpack on her back, and it's not a big one. And in one of the pockets she had her passport along with her wallet, which had all her credit cards and, like maybe €100 of cash. And somebody, we think it happened in the Trevi fountain area, but we're not 100% certain. It was really crowded that day, and it was on a Saturday, and a lady went into her space, and shortly after we realized that her money and passports were missing, they had unzipped that zipper, pulled out the valuables, and so we don't know where it really happened, but it could happen on the subway as well. Anyway, that was kind of our fault. We probably should have never, we'd been there so many times and just got kind of lazy. And what we learned is don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning you shouldn't be carrying your passport with you when you're touring the city anyway. Take a picture of that, put it on your phone, and if you end up losing some valuables, like your passport gets stolen or your bag gets stolen, at least your passport's safe. And then don't carry more cash or credit cards than you need. Leave the rest in a safe space in your hotel or Airbnb. Other people, here's the stories they had. We had two young gals that were eating lunch at a little cafe right near Termini, and some guy ran past the table. Well, he grabbed the purse off the table and ran with it. And they were they're small ladies. They didn't chase them, okay? And that's kind of what they're banking on. Another person had come into Rome from Florence, a small family. I think there was 3 or 4 of them, and they were in a car, and they parked near Termini again, because that's kind of there's a lot of areas, but Termini is definitely known for pickpockets. And they parked their car. They got out for only like 20, 25 minutes to go grab something to eat real quick, came back to the car. The window was smashed. The bags were gone. Passports and everything was missing for them. So, not many people drive cars in Rome, but if you do drive a car, lesson to you is don't leave valuables in the car, even for a few minutes. If there's a bag, a purse, anything that looks like there might be valuables inside, chances are your window will be smashed. And I've been into parking areas where, like at the metro stations and stuff, and every time I go there, I see shattered glass on the ground. So it's very common. So I guess if you're having a car, don't leave valuables in it. Here's what happened to the majority of people. They were getting on the metro, and when you talk to, this is kind of the game they play. As you're getting onto the metro, you might be distracted with a bag, you may be coming with luggage. A lot of these people that did have their passports and stuff stolen were like entering the metro, and they have like somebody, they're kind of crowding it, and then there's somebody at the last minute getting off the metro, and as they get off the metro, they're reaching into their pockets. Even if they feel it, the flow of traffic is heading into the metro car, and there's somebody getting off, so your instinct is to just continue into the car while they're taking your valuables from you as you're entering, they're exiting, the door shut, and you're without your valuables. I was a witness to it one time where a man, probably 35, maybe as old as 40, not that old. He did have his bags with him, so he was distracted. He had his family with him, and he had some bags that looked like he had just come from the airport. He was getting on the metro. He had his wallet in his front pocket. A guy as he was getting on the train, it was actually a lady reached into his front pocket and grabbed his wallet, and I'm standing there watching, and he felt it, and just as she was grabbing or walking out of the metro, he saw her hand, he grabbed her hand, grabbed back his wallet. The lady looked surprised, gave her kind of a bug-eyed look, and the door shut, and it was a close call, but he was able to keep his wallet. So if you're finding this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like videos about Rome, consider subscribing. Now we're going to talk about how to not stand out and not to become a target of a pickpocket. When in Rome, there are a few things you can do to drastically reduce your potential of being pickpocketed. But first, let's figure out who they're targeting. Who do pickpockets target? Pickpockets unfortunately target those that are vulnerable, those that are less intimidating. They do not want confrontation, so they're going to go after people that are older, like myself. And when I was younger, I had no problem with pickpockets. They still took place in Italy 20, 30, 40 years ago, but I was never really in the center of that. Never was a problem for me at all. But recently, it has become a problem because I am getting older. So if you're getting older, I'd say 45, 50, 55, 60, the older you are, the more you become a target for pickpockets.
I felt somebody bump me and my U.S. wallet and my passport. Woof.
So again, they don't want confrontation, and when they do have confrontation, they want to know that they can outrun you, out-hustle you, and avoid being beat up by somebody. So that's the honest truth. They're also targeting women. Unfortunately, when we were in the embassy, almost everybody in the embassy with us that time getting our passports replaced were either older people or women. And that was just a fact. So that's who they're targeting. Now, what can you do to reduce your exposure to being targeted? There are a couple of very easy things to do. The very first thing would be, don't take your luggage onto the public transportation system. When you're coming from the airport, be sure you grab a taxi. Don't try to take the train into town and then a taxi or a bus or a metro. There's just too much exposure. I see it all the time. It happens all the time. Now, if you're an Italian and you're familiar with the lay of the land, and you know what you're doing, it's not a big deal. But when you're new to the area, when you look a little lost, when you have your bags, you're distracted, right? You're thinking about your bags, you're thinking about getting them on and off and keeping track of them. Maybe you're keeping track of kids as well. Well, a pickpocket can sense that, and they identify you right away as a target. And then they're going to size you up and see, maybe what you're wearing, what you're, whether you have a bag or a purse, or what they can do, and possibly, they kind of size up if you got an opportunity for them to pickpocket you or to take something from you. So don't take your luggage. If you're coming in by train, let's say, you can grab a taxi there in Rome for less than 15 euros to take you to your hotel. If you were to get on the metro or the bus, it would be 1.5 euros. That's per person. The taxi rate is up to 4 people, so it's not that much more. You're going to spend an extra 5, 6, 7 euros to take a taxi, but you're going to have not just convenience because they're going to take you right to your hotel or Airbnb. You're also not going to be exposed to that opportunity for them to pickpocket you. So that'd be the number one thing. Don't take luggage, bags and stuff like that onto the metro or onto the buses. The second thing I'd say is when you're getting, let's say, on the metro, there's a couple of places that, kind of become bottlenecks. And those are like the kiosks where you're buying tickets and things like that, where you're trying to buy tickets. So I would say use Tap and Go. And I have a video about Tap and Go, what that is, but it's a way to use your phone to enter the metro and on the buses as well. And you're not, lost. And plus you look like you know what you're doing when you walk right on, you're quick. You don't have to look, where's the booth, where's this, stand in line. And whenever people congregate, you have more of a chance of being pickpocketed or somebody bumping into you and taking something. And that would also be true of this train station. You don't want to get your train, in my opinion, avoid buying train tickets at the kiosks and stuff. It's just another opportunity to be confronted by somebody. They're going to see you there at the kiosk trying to buy tickets. Buy those on the app. There's plenty of apps out there. The 2 apps that are the main apps are, if it's regular trains, it's the Train Italia has their own app and Italo has an app. And you can get all your train tickets right through the app, so when you get to the train station, you don't have to stand in line at a kiosk or look for a kiosk or figure out how to use a kiosk. Again, when you're there trying to figure out, it's talking to you, you're trying to put the language in, you speak English, and you're thinking about the kiosk and about getting your tickets, and you're not paying attention to the people around you sometimes, and that's where pickpockets tend to take place. It's when you're distracted. So the least distracted you can be, the safer you're going to be, and that's really the key of the whole thing. And I'd say the third thing is just knowing that pickpockets take place is half of it, okay? Because when you know they take place, you're going to be a little more attentive. When you're in a crowded area, wherever that might be, whether it's a popular tourist area like the Trevi Fountain or Spanish Steps or the Pantheon, or at a metro station, like the main metro stations to watch out for are, we've already talked about Termini. That's, almost 1 million people go through there every day. You've got the Colosseum, which is also a very high trafficked, touristy metro station. The Spanish Step station, it's also very big. A lot of people going through there. And then probably the last one would be the Vatican station. Lots and lots of tourists go through there, and there's lots of pickpockets there as well. Those are like the 3 or 4 main areas where you're going to have potential problems at. Outside of that, do they happen? Yeah, but it's much less frequent, on the other metro stations, I'd say. And the buses, there's many buses. You don't really have to worry about too much. But if you're like on the number 64, it's the main buses that run from Termini to the Vatican. That's a pretty notorious route for pickpockets. And some of the other very busy buses that are, oriented for tourists. So just following those easy steps will eliminate a lot of the potential of you being pickpocketed, despite the fact there's already a small percentage of you being pickpocketed. If you just do a few extra things, you're going to be pretty darn safe and not have to worry about it. But you still have to, when I say don't worry about it, you still have to be attentive. Don't let your guard down, especially in crowded areas. In the small case that it does happen to you, just don't let them get everything. Meaning, don't put all your money in your bag with your passport, all your credit cards. You just don't need to carry that much with you when you're touring the city. Take 50 euros, take one credit card, and if you lost that, you could call your credit card company, put a stop to that. You'd be out a few dollars on the money, and you wouldn't lose your passport because it wouldn't be with you, and you'd be able to just move on. You'd have a story to tell, and hopefully not a story and a big headache, because that's what you want to avoid.
You're mad. More than 50 ways.
More than 50
More than 50 ways
to lose your money.
to lose your money.
Ancora.
More than 50 ways to lose your money.